area in South Orange County a new breeding ground for a rare cancer? And is it the pesticides causing it, the water, the land itself, the AstroTurf, or is it something that people haven't even looked into yet?
What the hell is going on?
I'm Haley Gomez, and I'm an investigative reporter here in California, and never in my life have I gotten more DMs and messages about this issue. So yes, this is the first breakdown of what is going on in Ladera, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna do an explainer right now.
You're gonna learn today.
So this story has gotten national attention, and the basis of it is a cancer known as Ewing sarcoma. It is a rare cancer that usually starts within the bone or the soft tissue around the bone, and it hits kids and teens the hardest. Now nationwide, there are only about 200 to 240 cases a year. Almost every single one of these tumors has the same specific DNA change. Scientists still don't know exactly what causes this particular break and swap within the DNA, but some studies have looked at whether certain chemicals that can damage DNA might play a role, but nothing has been proven to state exactly what causes this trigger for this specific fusion. I'm no scientist, I'm just breaking down some of the research that I have found, so bear with me here.
Look, here's the thing.
Fine. Listen,
I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Now, there have been at least 6 kids reported in Ladera Ranch with Ewing sarcoma. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Ladera Ranch, it is a master planned community area of about 4,000 acres that was built starting in the late 1990s and early 2000s on what used to be the massive Rancho Mission Viejo cattle ranch land.
This is all a moot point.
It's right next to Rancho Santa Margarita with Mission Viejo and San Juan Capistrano nearby. In Ladera Ranch, there are villages, parks, sports fields, new homes, you name it, you think about it, it's probably in Ladera.
I can do it! I can handle it all!
Now, the earliest reportings of some of these Ewing sarcoma cases date back to around 2013. The most recent one, which has gotten national attention now, is about a 17-year-old Brody Matteson who passed away in March after he and his family discovered that there was a tumor on his spine and they could not operate on it. His mom had posted in a local Facebook group, and a bunch of other families had reached out, which started a conversation within the area about cases of Ewing sarcoma within Ladera Ranch. Now, when I was reporting on herbicides about a month or so ago, I had gotten wind of this story because there was not only Ewing sarcoma, but there were cases of breast cancer and random rashes and things that were popping up that families couldn't really explain. And some of these cases, in fact, happened on the same street, which led families to believe that there was an issue going on within their community.
Something truly goddamn strange is going on!
Now, one of the sources that I spoke to, a doctor had told them at the time that it was kind of weird that Ewing sarcoma had popped up so much, but they were never asked about environmental factors. There have also been self-reported cases of higher than expected pet cancers being looked at. Now, these numbers that have been collected are from families and residents showing their concerns about what's going on within their community. Orange County Health did an initial review and they didn't find a clear pattern. The California Cancer Registry is looking into this with no official confirmation declaring that this is a cluster, and nothing has been proven to be the source of the cause. But when you see this many rare diagnoses plus other concerning reports, people are going to dig, and there's going to be questions that officials need to answer. So let's start with the water, because the forever chemical problem that made DuPont infamous has also shown up in Orange County, believe it or not.
No! Why?
Now, most of the drinking water that comes out of the taps in South Orange County is managed by the Santa Margarita Water District, also known as SMWD. Some of the water is imported from far away, like Northern California or the Colorado River, but the rest is going to be underground water, which is water sitting in layers of sand, gravel, and rock. It acts like a giant natural sponge. They pump it up, treat it, and then send it to the houses. There's also actually a third option, which is recycled water.
Stuffing.
Oh, yum.
And that's going to be wastewater that's already went down the drain, got cleaned to a high standard, and is reused for outdoor irrigation, like parks, medians, sports fields, common areas of landscaping. Now in Ladera, Larmac, which is part of the HOA, which we will get into, about 90% of that water that's used for irrigation is actually recycled water. There are hundreds of millions of gallons used per year. Now, recycled water, it's very interesting. It can carry high levels of salt, which stresses plants over time. So these stressed plants then get more bugs and weeds, which then can lead to the use of more chemical treatments. So the water and spraying can technically feed each other in a sense.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not even a scheme per se.
But what I found interesting was back in 2016, there were initial complaints about the smell of the recycled water sources, and they adjusted to chemical scrubber systems to help deal with it. However, from certain sources that I've talked to within Ladera, there are still areas that have this sulfur egg-like smell still. Now, it's not constant everywhere, but enough people have mentioned it to me that I thought it would be something to put on record here.
Ew, that's gross!
But to the PFOA piece. Now, if you're unfamiliar with PFOAs, PFOA and PFOs are part of the PFA family, the forever chemicals that won't break down.
What did that just mean?
This is most famous from DuPont, or I should say really infamous. For years, they used PFOAs in making Teflon. It contaminated drinking water around their plant in West Virginia, and people got sick. There were massive lawsuits, and it put forever chemicals on the map for people. Now, in 2020, California actually lowered its acceptable levels for these chemicals in drinking water. So suddenly a bunch of wells across Orange County, especially within the north and central areas, had to be taken offline because levels were way too high for them. A lot of that contamination was linked to treated wastewater flowing into the Santa Ana River and then seeping into groundwater.
Fun. Wonderful, wonderful.
So South County districts like SMWD state that they do monitor and treat it to have water meet the deliverable standards. But the 2020 scare showed that these chemicals were still moving through the system. Now next is the landfill that has gotten thousands of neighbors fighting about it, and it's not even a mile from some homes, not within the Ladera area, but some nearby in San Juan Capistrano.
What? How could you say something like that?
So right down the road in San Juan Capistrano area is the Prima Desha landfill.
Beautiful.
It's been there for decades, but lately the county has been trying to roughly double the amount of trash that can be taken in, going from about 4,000 tons to 8,000 tons. Residents nearby have been pushing back hard. I mean, common sense would understand why, but for those who wouldn't understand it, the issue of massive truck dust, strong odors, flies, birds, noise, air quality complaints, the landfill itself is nearby a school, which has raised massive concerns. Local cities and even some state legislatures have stepped in, raising concerns about the expansion, which has Board of Supervisor Katrina Foley right in the middle of it, since this is her district. Now, if the landfill were to be a factor, because we want to look at all sides of this, the possible pathways would potentially be the gases coming off the trash, dust, and particles within the air, or potentially the liquid that can slowly move into the soil and then seep into the groundwater. Now, nobody has proven the connection here, but because there are chemicals that could potentially damage DNA, it is a factor to consider.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Now, moving on to our second potential factor is the fields where kids play every single day and what is actually in this fake grass that they have out there.
But wait, there's more. Hang on to your seat, baby.
Now, Ladera has both artificial fields and real grass fields. At one of the artificial fields that is a massive field that a lot of kids play at is known as the Cox Sports Park. Try saying that 10 times.
No, don't like that.
Most artificial turf that's used is plastic grass with a cushioning layer. A lot of versions of artificial turf use crumb rubber, which is tiny bits of recycled tire, as the black fill within it. This rubber can contain polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Also try saying that one 10 times.
I don't like that.
It contains heavy metals like lead, zinc, and other chemicals that pop up from tires. The plastic blades and the backings can also contain PFAs. There have been conversations online from residents about the concerns of use of artificial turf.
Answer me!
Synthetic fields also tend to get a lot hotter than real grass. Now, California actually just finished a study on this, and most risk assessments say that average exposure is low,
Thank you for that.
but some researchers are still flagging concerns for young children who are on the field a lot. There's no proof connecting the cancers or the issues with the artificial turf, but it's just another possible exposure that there is.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
Another one is also the wood that's actually been used. Now, a lot of homes and outdoor structures in Ladera were built in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Back then, a common pressure treatment for outdoor wood was known as CCA, which is chromated copper arsenate. This includes arsenate, which is known as a carcinogenic. It can slowly leach onto the surface of wood and soil, so kids touching a deck or a playset and then putting their hands on their mouth was actually a real concern, which is why they phased out CCA out of most residential uses around 2003 to 2004.
Wow. Great job.
Newer treatments do use different copper formulas, but older decks, fences, or play structures from when these neighborhoods were being built could still have older stuff. It's unknown at this time. Indoors, composite wood can also release formaldehyde, which is another possible exposure, not proven cause. But there is also a thing that residents have brought up, which is the massive towers that are in the community itself. Now, some people in the community, and I've actually talked to sources about this, have brought concerns about the cell towers, the 5G's antennas, or nearby power lines in electromagnetic fields, also known as EMF.
This is ridiculous.
The Ladera Health Map that residents have put together note that power lines and cell towers have come up oftentimes. The World Health Organization's Cancer Agency classifies both low-frequency fields from power lines and radio-frequency fields from wireless tech as possible carcinogenic to humans.
Yeah, super cool, bro.
These towers are actually massive. I was driving through this weekend and I was astonished that I just didn't realize them before, but they are massive through both San Juan Capistrano and Ladera itself. That means some studies have seen associations, but no clear cause or mechanism has been proven, especially not for Ewing sarcoma. The data is still mixed and debated after decades of research, and no one has linked specific towers in Ladera to directly these cases. But when you have growing wireless infrastructure and residents living close to it, it's another possible pathway worth asking questions about and logging as part of a bigger investigation.
I have several questions.
Now, the issue that everyone has been talking about, and it's where my own reporting comes into play here. It's pesticides. This is the part that most people are laser focused on right now: pesticides and herbicides.
Here we go again.
Now, these chemicals have been used for land maintenance in Ladera since the community was really developed in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Larmac, which is part of its HOA, has contracts with O'Connell Landscape.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're actually used a lot throughout South Orange County. Now, because of the pushback that they have gotten, they state that they follow integrated pest management, which reportedly tries prevention and organic first. They use licensed applicators, post notices, and only use EPA and California approved products.
Okay.
They also say that they have expanded organic fertilizers and hand weeding in some areas. However, public notices, which are posted on laderalife.com, and resident reviews of records list specific products that have been applied in common areas, which are going to be some of them. I'm not going to state all 17, but Demand CS, Temperate FX, Termidor, Winsome Lawn Granular, Alpine WSG, Onslaught, Avalon Grain Grower Bait, and Lifeline, and others. There's a whole slew of them.
Stop. Seriously. Stop. Stop.
These are used from getting rid of pesky gophers to taking out the weeds to you name it. Ladera is very much in, along with South Orange County and the newer build homes, are very much aligned with keeping a manicured look.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Now, residents and attorney Jackie French have stated that records show about 17 different pesticides and herbicides used within a single month, with applications almost daily in place. However, Larmac has disputed that the volume is unusual or linked to any illnesses.
Wow, that's really nice. I guess you should.
But this isn't the first time that I've actually looked at chemical spraying within South County. Earlier this year, I reported on the Creek team's investigation into Orange County Public Works spraying that got Board of Supervisor Katrina Foley into a lot of heat because this is her district.
Oh no. No, 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 no.
They were spraying large amounts of herbicides within the channels and creeks that flow straight into the beachways. And after public pressure, Foley actually paused and attempted to shift towards a mechanical removal of chemicals. Now, the county itself eventually put a broader pause in place to review the program that has been used. Now, nearby, actually, Aliso, which I thought was very interesting, Aliso Viejo had its own fight with some of the chemicals that they were using.
How bizarre. How bizarre.
Residents organized under toxic-free OC after herbicide spraying was done in parks and on slopes. Some of those products in Aliso Viejo included glufosinate-based ones like Cheetah Pro. Multiple residents had reported illnesses, and testing showed high levels of certain toxins within their system.
What the is going on?
Different set of complaints, but the same type of landscape chemicals, because Lifeline, which is used by Larmac, is also glufosinate-based.
Oh, well, isn't that convenient?
But the question still raises if pesticides in general are potentially causing this issue, or could be one of the factors causing this issue. So now, finally, we get to what are officials saying, and why did Larmac just hit a pause on some of these products?
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, this has gotten national attention. In fact, Republican Florida Rep. Anna Paulina Luna has commented publicly about this, stating that she was shocked by the amount of childhood cases, asking what environmental factors could be involved. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley has also requested that the EPA investigate possible environmental causes and whether any federal laws are at play here within California.
You gotta help me. Please help me.
Okay.
Please help me out here, please.
Larmac has stated that their hearts are with the families, they're cooperating with health agencies, and they are not aware of any determination linking their practices to the illnesses. After scrutiny, they have announced now that there is a 60-day pause on certain products they use for weed management. They also formed an ad hoc advisory committee with homeowners, board members, staff, and landscape professionals to review practices and look for improvements. Orange County Health is now also doing another review of the data, and the California Cancer Registry is examining the reports. As of now, the EPA has obviously been asked to look into it, but has not issued a detailed public statement or findings on the matter, or what that investigation is going to look like. And so, to wrap this all up, we have families reporting on Ewing sarcoma going back to at least 2013 within Ladera, plus other various cancers, a specific DNA change that scientists still can't explain, major PFA scares within Orange County's water in 2020, and a controversial landfill nearby, synthetic turf on some of the main fields, possible older treated wood, recycled water that stresses landscape and sometimes apparently still carries sulfur smells, towers and EMFs that some residents are also questioning, and a list of chemicals that is being used within the community that brings us to what the heck is causing this issue.
I'm just not ready for all of this. It's just...
Again, all of these things listed are a possible factor that we are looking into here, and some things may turn out to be unrelated. I don't know. But every one of them is definitely a real possible pathway that deserves actual testing, full public records, and transparent data instead of some assumption or silence.
You're goddamn right.
Now, part 2 is going to be tracking whatever the EPA does next, any new material results, how that advisory committee actually works, and whether more cases or data comes out. So if you do live in Ladera, I have been talking to sources, or you live in RMV or the surrounding area and have documents, photos, or just questions and concerns, please email me, drop them in a comment below, whatever it is. This investigation is still very much open wide, and we are looking at all ends.
Let's get to work.
So, to be followed up with part 2. See you guys soon.